Good morning.
I don't have to be rude, I guess.
We're gonna table them
Just don't flip me off.
to next week.
Got your phone close.
Is there a reason why?
I felt so.
I do too. I think
Good morning. It is October 22nd. We're here for our regular scheduled county commissioner meeting. We have all three commissioners present, our administrator, Mr. Danzel, and our clerk of the board, Teresa. So at this time, we'll call the meeting to order and ask everybody to please rise and join in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the approval of the current agenda.
Mr. Chairman, a couple of items that we need to amend on the agenda before us. I'd like to see us pull on the consent agenda, item number 7. I'd like to see that pulled to regular business for discussion. I'd like to see us table item 13 on consent. And then under regular business, item A, we need to amend that to make that a resolution, and that resolution would be 2025-318. And with that, move for approval of the amended agenda.
Second.
Been a motion and a second for the number 7 on consent item to be regular business, 13 to be pulled, and regular business item A has a resolution number of 2025-018. Did I get that
It's
right?
318.
318. 2025-318.
Correct.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Takes us back to the public comment. Is there anybody in the room for public comment? Anybody on the phones? And nobody come forward, nobody on the phones. We'll move right into the approval of the consent agenda items 1 through 6, 8 through 12, and 14 and 15.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of consent agenda items 1 through 6, 8 through 12, and 14 and 15 as presented.
Second.
Been a motion, a second for the approval of the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Takes us down to regular business item A, Franklin County Noxious Weed Control Board budget, presented by Mr. Harris. Welcome. I think he's got some papers to hand out. Thank you. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be quick today. We're not-
If you want to, go ahead and just sit down there and get comfortable.
Okay. Our, the Franklin County Weed Board is presenting this budget as approved by our board and submitted for your approval. As you look at the payroll portion of it, not a huge amount of change. The major change that we have on payroll is our new office manager, Heather Knowles, taking Betsy's place after she retired. So we're kind of in a learning phase, kind of her learning the office, me learning the office. As I've been there for 10 years, but it was Betsy's kind of realm to do that. So I'm glad I didn't have to do it for the first 10 years. So there's a lot to it, and anyway, glad to have Heather on to take it from there. So we're staffed at four positions full time. And I think that's been working out pretty good for us here in the last several years. So I think we'll continue on with that. I did put in some small increases for the staff all the way around. So, as I do appreciate the work that they do and time that they put in. Also have a part-time position that we may fill if we get to where we feel like we're needing a little more help in the springtime when things kind of get a little crazy. So we'll kind of that's kind of about the size of it for payroll. The next thing is our cost share program. This is our 9th year with it. I adjusted the cost share expense down a little bit to cover some other areas, insurance and so forth, that seems to keep going up. With this cost share program that we do, we've been able to offer about a $10 an acre cost share for the guys that are working on noxious weeds, rangeland, conservation reserve program land, and some areas, large and small, where we can use residual chemical to control those noxious weeds, because it's essentially that's what we've found is the best approach. There's been pretty good response to it over the years. A lot of people that have used it have improved and upgraded their outground rangeland and so on. So our roadside program, I guess I'm hoping we're going to be in the same budget range as what we have been. Chemical prices for the roadside just continue to go up and up every year, so it kind of takes us backwards quite a ways. Makes it a little harder to cover as many miles as what we used to do. So our last fall, we did our dry land application, and we had as many of you might recall, we had quite a bit of rainfall, which I think must have pushed the herbicide down beyond the germination zone a little bit, which is out of the first ½ inch. And we ended up with some kind of stunted looking weeds popping through. Kind of doesn't look real aesthetically pleasing on the roadsides, but the weeds got to a certain point and just kind of hung there and not looking real great. But we did get pretty good control on the majority of the roads. So I think we're probably looking at changing our recipes around a little bit this year in order to break that potential for resistance, and which probably will be a little more expensive, but I guess we'll do a few less roads and try and hopefully keep the roads in a little better shape that we do end up spraying. We have several contracts with agencies, and we work with other agencies if we don't have contracts with, to whether it's through grants or other funding or our own funding to help get some areas cleaned up that we're already working adjacent to. We generally, whenever we do any applications, we have GPS electronic mapping to kind of mark where we are, so that anybody that we do work for, we can generally provide an electronic map of the areas that we sprayed with, how much area and so on. So, we haven't received any State Department of Ag grants this year compared to last year. The state seems to be not having much additional funding available for that sort of thing this year, so. We've been able to hire a drone for some projects and aerial applications with the airplane to do some larger areas. Some pretty good results on many of those. Everything that we do applications-wise is kind of has a timing factor to it, depending on the species that we're working on, and so we work through that pretty well. As far as our budget, you'll notice there's not a whole lot of changes down through the budget line items. The only ones that show any changes are we just suggested one item down, so basically in order to balance things out here. Our reserve has grown a little bit in the last couple of years, and we're kind of hoping to keep that as a buffer zone for things that may come up as we move along. So, any questions on the budget that I've discussed?
Questions, commissioners?
No questions.
I'd just like to say, appreciate the fact that you do have that reserve fund and it is growing. That is handy to have. And then I really appreciate the fact you're keeping your budget tight. Actually, total expenses went down. You know, salaries went up a little bit. Supplies, you know, went up a little bit, but that's for everybody. For farmers, there's no break on chemicals for us either. And fuel. On the fuel side of things, do you guys have a storage tank that you can buy bulk in?
No, we've been working with Connell Oil and just basically work out of the card locks. It's probably I think it's probably our best. If we had ground or land of our own, that would be a potential. I guess we
Right.
could do something.
But my question, I guess, is do you guys burn dyed diesel or clear diesel?
Clear diesel always.
Clear
yeah.
diesel. As a county, with county rigs that are spraying, is there a potential opportunity there to use the dyed diesel? Because are these licensed? You're exempt, so could you possibly do that and save on that tax?
As far as I know, if a vehicle's on the road, you have to run clear fuel. That's
As a farmer, if we have farm exempt rigs, we can run dyed diesel. But you got a 25-mile radius where you're within Franklin County. So I think it's something to look at. You might be able to buy that dyed diesel and use it. I don't see why not.
You might be able to get a rebate on some of that fuel tax, because I know when I had my shred business,
You were able to get a rebate?
you burned clear diesel, but you could get a rebate because a lot of your fuel is spent shredding.
Just trying to help you on your budget so that you could have more room elsewhere for chemical, because I know how important that is. And I do know that when you get those heavy rains, it pushes it down and it don't work right. So, and that means another app, and that's twice the amount of money on your app and your chemicals. So, but that's all I got. I appreciate you, Todd, and I appreciate your tight budget. Thank you.
Yeah, good job. It looks great. Thank you.
thanks.
So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of Resolution 2025-318 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for Resolution 2025-318. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Todd.
Thank you.
Now, if we could, we would move into item regular business B, which was on consent, and it's the Life Flight Human Resources 2026 Life Flight Group. We just have a few questions on this. It says in here, and I can go to it, I pulled it here, here it is right here. It says that this benefit is paid for out of, well, I read it in my other packet, but now oh, there it is, right here. To be covered within the approved 1240 budget. Do you pay for all of the employees? Because I know that the two commissioners, myself and I think Commissioner Bauman, we have Life Flight within our own family. Are the employees paying for this, or is this coming out of one of our budget lines?
So we cover all, we cover the disability board members, which is only 3 members.
Okay.
Because we do pay for their medical expenses, like any requests that they submit to the disability board, we go ahead and cover for them. So in case that they need a life flight, we as the county pay for that for them, just so we prevent any future cost in the future.
And then,
But
so
for-
the other employees have to pay for the Life
Yes,
Flight?
correct.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
because I was hoping that we weren't double paying for people that
Yeah.
already had it.
So my understanding, our process today would be giving approval for all county employees to have access to a group rate.
Yes,
And
correct.
the employees would actually pay for it themselves.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all we needed to know. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
So with that, we'll look for
Mr.
the-
Chairman, move for approval of Resolution 2025-308 as presented.
Second.
Been a motion, a second, for Resolution 2025-318.
308.
308, excuse me. Any further discussion? Hearing that, nothing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Takes us down to public hearing, surplus declaration of county-owned property through motor vehicle fund. And at this time, I'll open the public hearing. And I guess, Mr. Erdman,
Good morning, Board.
good morning.
As Chair indicated, this is public hearing to authorize the surplus and disposal of the following property: a 2016 Ford F-250 4x4, a 2015 Ford F-150 4x4, a 2009 Chevy Colorado, a 2006 Ford Escape, a 1994 Ford F-150, and 10 pieces of miscellaneous equipment. If you wish, I can list those off, or
Do you guys, do the,
I, being the Public Works Director and County Engineer, have determined these items have reached the end of their useful life and their surplus through public auction to be the most cost-effective for the county. If the board authorizes the surplus, the sale and its conditions will be overseen by my office, and the funds recovered from the sale will become part of the motor vehicle fund per RCW 36.33A.030. Upon the sale of the surplus items, they will be removed from the motor vehicle fund records by the county auditor. The chair of the board may sign the titles for the motor vehicle fund, releasing the county's interest. Are there any questions I can answer? I'll try.
questions, commissioners?
No questions.
No, no questions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Erdman. And you, I didn't hear you, but they will go to Booker auction?
I believe that's where they're going. That's generally who, I think we're pretty much,
Yep.
that's about who's all that's left for us.
All righty. So with that, I'll entertain a motion. Oh,
Open
if there,
public.
we'll close it. I'll close it when we're done voting, but. if I
So there needs to be opportunity for the public to,
Oh, that's right. Is there anybody in the public that would like to comment on this? Anybody on the phone? Okay, the public has had their chance to weigh in on this. If there's no public, I'll entertain a motion.
let me find it here.
think it's
Move for
3-1.
approval of Resolution 2025-317 as presented.
Second.
Been a motion and a second for approval of Resolution 2025-317. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Takes us to I closed the public hearing. Thank you. So at this time, we'll move into Commissioner Administrator updates. Mr. Danzel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This week has been a busy week. We did as you all know, a jail tour and media availability. I thought that Chief Harmon represented the county in an incredible way. In that, they went through and they took a look at the tablet program that the chief has instituted that will not only we believe reduce the rate of recidivism, but it'll also be a revenue generator for the Franklin County Jail. Participated very briefly in the Emergency Management Board meeting. My basic idea was to go there and thank Sean Davis for his many years of work and his leadership and doing just a fantastic job on our behalf. And so I wanted to do that and was able to. And I'd like to reiterate that he really does do a great job. And I've never worked with anybody that's actually better in that line of work. Budget Review Committee, I attended the Budget Review Committee session to provide administrative input and review preliminary departmental issues, as it were, areas where we're concerned, sales tax revenue. I'm going to send a copy of that down now for you gentlemen to have a copy of that. And I'm also going to send down right now so that you can have a copy of the preliminary budget. I think it's important just to have, even if you throw it in your truck and someone gives you a random phone call, you'll have something that you can look to be able to kind of speak to it. Met with the auditor's office, accounting staff to discuss the pending financial policies that are forthcoming. I believe that'll happen when Jeff Briggs gets back. We've got, Jeff has kind of been taking that as from step one in the legal review world. And now we're all the way down to whether we need to advertise or whether we can get rid of a section that's already contained in the procurement policy. I attended a shoreline reconveyance meeting that was put on by TriDeck regarding, you know what it's regarding. And looks like there's going to be a second follow-up, a pretty important meeting coming up that I wanted to let you all know about because they're getting ready to go and have negotiations or discussions with the local tribes. I met with Mike McCall at HAPO to discuss operation events and contracts. And I met with you gentlemen, of course, to discuss very briefly this week the agenda. And so that was the majority of the week for me. And then, of course, putting together a couple of these policies that we can look at. Wanted to describe what I think will be a winning ticket moving down the road. I think and I've mentioned this before, I think we take the policies that we want to eventually pass, or at least consider passing or consider changing. We put those in a workshop. We give even a couple weeks' time for the elected officials and department heads here to kick around. If there's any feedback, we'll take a look at that. If it's pertinent, we can include it and kind of make a change. But I think these are different than the financial policies and the things that we had to get right, or else we were just going to never start passing audits. So kind of my recommendation when we get down to the later part of the workshop today, and just every policy that we're wanting to look at, is by lining them up early enough, we'll be able to have one on the books if you want to take action if it's pertinent to where we're going via our strategic plan. My last update is the strategic plan. I'll be providing another PowerPoint presentation to show you where we're at in that process shortly. We're probably going to get through the October 29th meeting just because it's going to be a little bit of a tiger as far as time goes. And so I'm looking at doing that at either the 5th or the 12th of November. That's my report. If you need me doing anything else, you all just let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Danzel. Very nice job. Mr. Bauman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, we had workshops last week, and appreciate all the hard work that went in from everybody to make those go as smoothly as they did. And I felt like at the end of that, my brain was about mush. I'd put about as much information in there as I possibly could. Went to the Franklin County Emergency Management Board meeting and agree with our administrator that Sean Davis does an exceptional job on behalf of the citizens of Franklin County, and his preparation and organization is second to none. And certainly want to say thank you to him for that. Spent a lot of time with our administrator and answering calls, working around the courthouse, and visiting. Also went on the media availability opportunity yesterday, and agree that Chief Harmon represented Franklin County Corrections very, very well. And thank you to everybody in Corrections for their diligence. And some of the predictions of doom and gloom have thankfully failed to materialize, and that organization is running exceptionally well. And Chief Harmon's thinking outside the box to bring these CTEL tablets in, and as everybody knows, operating a correctional institution, then the number one concern there is the inmate behavior and how the staff and the inmates get along with each other. And Chief Harmon does an exceptional job there. And the tablets will be another tool in his toolbox that he'll be able to use, and it will be a neat opportunity for them to learn, for them to have access to their family. And so thank you to Corrections for all that they do there. Our administrator talked about the shoreline reconveyance meeting. Would like to ask that we prepare a priorities list as far as what, and I'm happy to work with you on that, got some ideas on that, but to say what our priorities are in that shoreline reconveyance. And so appreciate you being there. And I got a call from the Kennewick mayor expressing appreciation for you speaking up and speaking out on behalf of Franklin County. So thank you for that. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll leave that as my report.
Commissioner Mullen.
So, yeah, last week finished up the budget workshops and met with Administrator Brian Danzel. Had the honor to swear in oath of office to Caleb Casey into the assessor's office this morning, although he's been here for a short time already. Just want to welcome him. He'll be taking over the GIS area, so he is down there working on that, and just want to say welcome. And that concludes my update. Thank you.
My last week was pretty free. I just want to say congratulations to Mr. Harmon, Captain Harmon. He is doing an incredible job at the jail, and I'm glad he's getting some good pub out there. And I want to thank Mr. Bauman for getting that all put together for the jail. I'd like to say, too, thank you to Mr. Danzel for all of his hard work, but he attended the budget meeting for me, and one thing that's really become relevant in our meeting after that is the fact that we are over $566,487 under budget on sales tax collection. So I'm going to urge the county to really, every department, to look at tightening your belts. Where can you trim some fat out of your department? Because we are coming up short on this year, and it's looking like it's going to be a trend that we're going to have to deal with. So we're all going to have to pinch pennies here to get through these few years. And I got to say, due to these commissioners and this administrator, we are probably the only county in the state that is in this good a position, where we came into this budget cycle looking at a $48,000 deficit when other counties are looking at millions and multi-millions. Some counties are in the excess of 30 million upside down. I am so grateful that we got people here that are really watching the budget, and we're keeping an eye on this thing, and we're going to come out of this, and we will. This too will pass. We will come through this, and we will be one of the bright, shiny county on the side of Washington State, the east side of Washington State. Let's make sure we get that right. Then I want to say a happy birthday wish to Camille. Camille is my daughter-in-law. Today's her birthday. Yesterday was her husband, my son Travis's birthday, and tomorrow is their anniversary. Boy, do they know how to plan things out.
Get it all done at once.
You can't get it all done at once, and you can't forget them. They got it all planned out, don't they? But that ends my report. Is there any need for correspondence? No correspondence. We're at public comment. Is there anybody for public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. I owe you an apology. It's not easy to come here and do that. I have a lot of thought. There's a lot of things that's happened in this room, a lot of screaming, yelling. It hurts the public. I did just want to finish a sentence. I've seen that grace been given to other people, but that is no excuse. When I heard comments outside of this moment last week, because that's not how I wanted it to go. I continue to advocate for something I think is a real tool, not just for this county, but for this state and even this country. If we stand by our Constitution, it'll stand by us, majority or not, minority or not. It's not even a bipartisan issue. When I heard the conversation from before, there were comments made by Commissioner Baumann that for the first time I understood what he was really upset about. And it was never my intention in that meeting either. I've been encouraged to just let things go. But if they keep repeating, you want to do something to stop that. And there has been some repetition. In other meetings outside this room, there's a pattern of yelling. But you have my genuine, sincere apology. And so do the people of Franklin County. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment? Nobody on the phone? All right. Is there any commissioners that would like to say anything before we adjourn? Mr. Danzel?
Mr. Chairman, with, I know that we've got the Treasurer's Office coming to present. They're up next on the workshop. But Council Lloyd has also indicated to me that we have a need for, I think, a rather short closed session.
Very short closed session.
And so without them being here, I think that that might be worth our while. Go ahead.
Mr. Baumann.
Just under other business, as we've talked about the approach of contract renewal or lease extension for our public works, I've been spending some time looking, asking questions, trying to figure out something that has presented itself. Not sure exactly how to go about this, but our sheriff's office is holding vehicles and evidence in multiple different locations, and we need to figure out how to clean that up. Some of it's evidence in criminal investigations that have happened in the past. I'm not sure where we need to go, but we need to consolidate, and the stuff that is not needed any longer needs to be properly disposed of. I know that in one location, when we have gotten vehicles in the past, when we don't need the back seats out of them, for instance, you purchase a vehicle, you purchase it with the back seats, and they upfit them to their needs, and we have not passed those seats with the vehicle when we got rid of it. So we literally have dozens of seats that are brand new but are expired, and we no longer own the vehicles. We just need to clean some of that stuff up. it does not need to be a burden on our public works to maintain that stuff. And so not sure where we go from here or how we do it. I know that we rent grounds both in public works as well as in facilities that we're holding numerous vehicles and other types of evidence that we need to put a plan together, and we need to dispose of the stuff that we don't need to hold, and the stuff that we do need to hold, we need to, do it in a more organized and proper manner. So maybe you can advise us on where we should go and how we should do that. Public Works does an exceptional job of being efficient on our behalf, and we need to respect that and not ask them to do stuff that we're literally holding garbage that we need to dispose of.
Question?
I think the delineation would be, so like seats out of the backseat of the car, we can surplus with our procurement policy. I'm almost certain of that. The bigger issue, and I've lived through this before, and where it gets tougher to get rid of some of the stuff is, and I think that this covered with what you were saying, and we're in agreement here. You see it all the time on like the Discovery ID channel. There's a piece of DNA that they could use now that they couldn't in 1982, so they hold on to these vehicles, hoping that they can get a cold case in DNA. So I'll have to look into what that schedule is. But as far as the other stuff, I totally agree.
Yeah, and I recognize that there's stuff that we need to hold on for a very long time. We need to do it in an organized fashion in one location. And currently, Public Works in their budget is paying to rent this property. Facilities is paying to rent their property, and we need to consolidate it and get it in an organized fashion where it's not being a burden on a neighboring department. So that's my
and
comment.
it's taken up, now, if I understood you correctly, these are patrol rigs that they take the back seat out of?
Yeah, and that's a standard practice. But when we get rid of a vehicle,
They don't put it back in?
that's happened
But those
numerous
seats
times.
have got to have some value, don't they? They could possibly be, like a wrecking yard would be willing to give us something for them to store
I
them.
suppose they're in the weather and
Oh, they're out in the weather.
Yeah, and I don't know, I mean, I don't have any evidence for this, but looking at it, there's seats that, in my perception, are 10 to 15 years old.
If they're out in the weather, no good.
And so, anyways, just something that we need to Public Works is ramping up
Yeah.
to fix our roads over the next number of years, and I want to empower them as much as we can and not burden them, and there's no reason for them to maintain stuff that has no value.
Taking up space, too.
Yep.
So, I agree wholeheartedly, so. all
Let
right.
us know, Craig, how we can be helpful if there's something we need to do. I'm trying to be faithful to my word, as I'll do everything I can.
And Craig, bring this to our attention, because this is stuff that we should probably be tending to as commissioners, and you got a board of commissioners that are willing to work with you, so. Okay. So when these vehicles go out of commission, they don't put the back seat back in them to sell them?
I don't know what the situation is. They haven't been in ER&R for a while.
That's true.
I think they have more value on the secondary market.
Okay. All right. So, well, thank you. And yeah, keep us in tune. All right. So is there any other business for the good of the county? Hearing none, we will adjourn this meeting and we'll go right into our workshop.
Close session.
Oh, yeah.
If we could do a closed session before.
Really quick?
For
Okay.
time.
All right.
Yes.
We'll do the closed session for what? How long?
No more than 15 minutes,
Okay.
but as soon as we're done, we can call the workshop to order.
We
So.
already signed it once.
Thank you, Todd.
Hancock?
Yeah, somebody, whatever, anyway. Did they get those cameras turned off? Come back and tell you.
So-
Were you talking to Bo about that?
So, yes.
Yes, Bo is.
So Teresa is all set. She's gonna,
Are you going to shut the cameras off for closed session too?
Yes.
Good.
I'm gonna just let them.
Okay.
leave.
Yeah, and Bo said that they've got it now where they're shutting them off.
Yep.
All it took was a motion.
So Teresa knows how to run it and do that, so.
Boy, as long as that agenda was, we marched right through that.
I gave you the transitory text, okay.
Oh, I have it, Jeff sent it
So there's nothing for,
So Stephen,
on this, but I'll get those to you.
you made her cry.
Right now.
Okay, very good, thank you. And if we probably.
Lights are on.
Okay, we've come out of closed session. Okay.
I think go for 15.
That's what I was going to do. So the first thing we got to do is amend the agenda, so I'll need a motion to amend the workshop agenda.
Okay.
Another thing is,
Nope,
It's up to you guys.
nope. They're outside counsel and they've,
Okay, we've come out of closed session. We're back to regular session. We've adjourned our regular meeting. We are now going to call to order the workshop agenda. I look for approval of the workshop agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to amend the workshop agenda that we have in front of us and to add an executive session.
There's been a motion and a second for the workshop agenda to add an executive session at the beginning for roughly 15 minutes under RCW 4231.110, parentheses I, parentheses 1, parentheses I, for 15 minutes. And in the room, we'll have the three commissioners and the clerk of the board and our administrator. This
And our
time-
outside counsel.
And our outside counsel. And at this time, we will stay in the room.
Let's take a vote.
And we will go into executive session at 10:35 and we'll come out at 10:50.
Mr. Chairman, we need to take a vote on amending the agenda and then
Oh,
And then
that's
amend
right.
it.
We did amend it, but we haven't voted. All in favor, say aye.
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 So then
Now-
we need to add the executive session.
Yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we would go into executive session under RCW 4231.10(1)(I) for 15 minutes.
We're doing it here. The cameras are off. Yeah. Do we have a second for the? Second. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So at this time, we'll go into executive session at 10:35. We'll come out at 10:50. And then we gotta wait for the cameras to go off again? I'm gonna extend for 10 minutes because we gotta wait for the cameras to go back off. We need a switch.
We're live.
Okay, we have come out, we're back from executive session. We're gonna extend for 10 minutes. We'll be out at 11:01, 11:02. We have come out of an executive session. We're back to our workshop. At this time, I'd like to ask if is there any public comment for our workshop? It's only related to the tax title properties and the transitory text messages. Is there anybody on the phone? Anybody wanting to come to the mic? Seeing none? Nobody on the phone? We will start with tax title properties. Unless, why don't we skip forward and we'll start with the transitory text messages, Brian, until our treasurer gets in here.
Kind of ruffled my feathers. Okay, that's better that they're not here.
Who ruffled your feathers?
My feathers just get ruffled sometimes, Commissioner. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners and ladies and gentlemen in the public. I have before you, and I'm going to pass down for you to take a look at, a transitory text policy. The Franklin County Board of Commissioners, with your obligations and your responsibilities, have the responsibility to establish clear and consistent guidelines for handling short-term communications, text messages, any kind of communications. This policy would serve several critical functions aligning county operations with the requirements of the Washington State Public Records Act. The most important reason to ensure compliance with the state law is obvious, I think. We can't not fulfill public records. What I'd like to do here today is send this out, and for the clerk of the board, Mrs. Alvarez, if you could send all the department heads and elected officials, because there's a potential for folks to misunderstand what this is about. Transitory texts are texts that are non-binding, non-decision-making. It's, hey, Commissioner Bauman, make sure that you remember you have a 9 o'clock meeting tomorrow morning, or hey, the folks from HAPO are here, or, you know, along those lines. The reason that it'll help us is it'll help us be more responsive to the Public Records Act. Here we go. Transitory message policy clearly defines what a transitory message is, typically communications with only short-term administrative value. What this would do is this would be anybody that's issued a government-issued phone, the policy would be that you're only allowed to utilize the phone for text messages in a transitory nature. So there'll be no backroom dealings, there'll be no decisions that could possibly be made, not that any ever have. It would cut down on our public records requests when it comes to all these long drawn-out text messages. It's a crucial tool for making public records requests the process more efficient for both county staff and the public. It'll include faster response times on being able to respond to public records requests. It'll lower our litigation risks and help the county defend against claims of improperly withholding or destroying records. And it will help us manage vast amounts of electronic data and an inexpensive and resource intense, that's expensive and resource intensive. And what I mean by that is, by right now, where we're kind of like letting it out and there is no policy on text messaging, it's more to thumb through. You're sitting there looking through possibly volumes of text messages, data, when in reality, we really shouldn't be utilizing our cell phones for anything besides transitory messages. If decisions are being made, decisions should be made in an open public meeting, right? Effective records management and storage, and I'm trying to get through this because I do recognize that the treasurer's staff have come in, and I want to be kind to their time here. Reduce storage costs, improve system performance, and clarity for employees. And so again, what I look to do on this is you have these in front of you now. The legal counsel has it. And the clerk of the board will be sending this out for a 2-week review for all department heads and elected officials so that they can make comments. Maybe we missed something. Maybe there's some need for an addition or something to be altered in that policy. But that would be the end of my workshop presentation as we get ready for the more important and more, I think, time-sensitive tax title workshop.
Thank you, Mr. Denzel. And yes, we will look this over. As of now, I think this is just great work. I appreciate it. And commissioners, you want to comment on it?
I think it's a good idea.
Yep.
Thank you.
Trying to limit this public records request because it's costing the taxpayers a lot of money. So with that, we'll move into our tax title properties presented by Ms. Kelzer, the Franklin County Treasurer. Thank you. We've been requesting this for quite a while, and we really appreciate you. We'd like to move on.
It's okay.
Well, I moved him into position because of the executive session. We just want to keep moving.
Okay, well, I'm Josie Kelzer, I'm the treasurer. I have my office staff with me. I have Russ Stetsky, my chief deputy, and I have Whitney Backus, who is our foreclosure person, is the expert on everything foreclosure.
If you see her at your house, it's trouble.
So I just want to go over the big picture here with this slides that we're going to do, and I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. I'm going to give you some information, which you probably guys already know about it, but just so we're communicating, letting you know what's kind of what happens through the process and how we acquire tax title and things like that. So,
Okay.
okay. So on this first page here is what is tax title. I'm going to go over how it works and what we have. Some of this information, like I said, you guys might already know. So we have tax title. It's tracts of land acquired by the county because the parcels went into foreclosure from failure to pay the property taxes. There was no bidders, and at that time it goes into a tax title and the county keeps it in a trust. So the key points here are it's acquired when no one else bids at the tax foreclosure sale. Ownership is transferred to the county by a tax title. It's not general county property, and it's held in trust for taxing districts. So the second one is what is tax title properties when they are being sold? One thing about tax title properties that are being sold, it's important to highlight it as where is, as is basis, no warranties. Properties held in trust, its county role is strictly administrative. It does not guarantee a clear title, and some of the buyers should do their research, perform due diligence on the properties. They check the zoning, access, environmental restrictions, flood zones, improvement structures. Also, if they have easements, liens, covenants, that may affect the ownership or the use.
Question? I have been contacted numerous times by numerous parties that have bought a railroad right-of-way that was through a farm that I owned, and they think they own the ground and they're trying to sell it to me. And I told them, no, all you own is a right-of-way because they bought the railroad right-of-way. Can we get an informative piece out there for people what they've bought? And nobody wants to buy a right-of-way. I'm never going to put in a railroad. And they've got other neighbors that have bought it. This is wrong.
So when you say they bought it, I don't believe it's something they bought through us. I'm not sure.
No,
And so
no,
from
but-
our standpoint, I don't know what we can do or put out there.
Well, as a county, we need to put
As a
out
county,
an
possibly.
informative piece that if you go and buy a railroad right-of-way, that's all you own is a right-of-way. You don't own the land, and you don't have access to that land. You only have access to put that railroad through that right-of-way. And these people think they're going to sell us back our land.
Well, I think it goes a little further. It's not just with the railroads. I think they're doing that with minerals and things of such. And I think even with minerals, I've heard them, or at least have conversations where they ruled sand as a mineral. And so now you own a mineral on the parcel that somebody's doing a development on, and I could come to you and potentially say, hey, you're digging up my mineral. So I think there is an issue with that goes beyond the railroad right away. But again, I don't know how much we as a treasurer or we as a county can even do about it. That's something that we'd have to explore.
I just see people being fooled by this railroad right-of-way and what their ownership is. And it's very, it's aggravating because they keep calling me people from California. All righty, thank you.
Nobody
So
showed up
that's-
with a locomotive, though, right?
What's that?
Nobody showed up with a locomotive?
Nobody showed up with railroad ties and irons to start laying that track down either. All right, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Just venting a little frustration.
So for the tax title, the kind of properties, parcels that are tax title, Usually, they're a small leftover piece of land that tends to be most useful for the neighboring property owners. Majority of the time, they have little to no value or standalone. So an example here is the little sliver of a piece of ground that you see. It's between two property owners, and it could be not buildable, or it could be valued under $500. And so we have been able to, through an RCW, do a private negotiation between those two property owners. And with that RCW, we usually come with a resolution for you guys to be able to say, these are the properties that we need to sell for that. So, so we have the options that are available to the board. So the most common is disposition. We're selling a property, and the method that we sell is through a public auction. We also do a private negotiations. If the parcel qualifies, there is a RCW that allows that there's adjacent property owners, and the property is, like I said, under $500, you can negotiate a private sale. Or if it's non-buildable, you can do the same thing. So, and the process, the board would declare to sell the property. The treasurer provides notice, conducts a sale, collects a payment, issues a deed, and distributes the proceeds to the tax districts to make them whole. So, there's an option 2. The property can be devoted to public use and/or exchange the property. So as you see, the and/or, it's all up to interpretation. This might be something that legal would need to help decide. The Treasurers Association, they've always used the intent, was always to exchange to keep the district whole. But we're not here to make that decision. It's you guys, your ultimate decision to do that. So what really this means is the board can exchange land at a 90% of equivalent value when beneficial to the county or taxing districts, or the property must be devoted to public use, public purpose, such as parks, right-of-ways, facilities, if approved by the board. Railroad use. No. The board probably needs to seek legal counsel because we don't determine that for you guys. So the process on all this, the treasurer maintains a list of tax title properties. You can also view it on Tax Sifter. Interested individuals complete an intent to purchase form. The form to complete an intent to purchase form and submit it to the treasurer's office. Depending on the property's status, the treasurer presents the request to the board commissioners for consideration, and the board makes a decision. The treasurer proceeds with the appropriate action based on that decision. So, for an example, we usually get about weekly, we get somebody that's submitting an application. And the board is not interested in selling that property. We don't go in front of the board because it's already been deemed that they're not interested. But if the property was in an auction, it didn't sell, we have the right to sell it by private negotiations. We don't need to talk to the board. They've already approved that sale. And that's why we deem it dependent on property status. So from there, the board makes a decision. The treasurer proceeds with the appropriate action based on that decision. So in 2023, I want to go over what the treasurer's office did and what we accomplished. As a whole, we had 31 parcels, and they were tax title. Some dated back to 1930. They were not on the tax roll, so they weren't generating revenue at that time. So our challenge was they were held in trust, they weren't county-owned, and we were starting to have issues with the city starting to impose abatement liens. And so we were having to try to figure out who was doing the cleanup on it and who was going to be paying for these abatement liens. And it came down to, we asked the facilities department to start cleaning it up, and not included in these, but another we had a house that homeless was living in. And so we actually had to sell that.
Was that the Wilson house?
No, it was a different one down here on,
Or no, Fourth and,
it was on Fourth and Fifth. I don't remember, but anyway, so.
Okay.
There's no RCW that states that the county can be charged for it, because it's really not the county's, so like facilities couldn't charge us for it, but it's not the county-owned property, it's tax title.
Right.
So we just made a decision that we just needed to start getting rid of these so we wouldn't have these issues, and that we didn't really, county facilities was actually doing a lot to keep these weeds up and take care of it.
Yeah, Mr. Danzel.
Thank you, and thank you, Madam Treasurer, and thank you, Russ, for being here. The question that I had was, and it was something that I sent over, and I don't know, it used to be that if the lands that were held in trust, that the county could come in and pay the back taxes and own it. Is that still possible or doable?
Well, we do. If we can just we'll just finish it, and it's part of this process. Do you want?
I think we briefly talked about it when you stepped out, but it depends, and there is that piece of it. It's not necessarily pay the back taxes. There is an avenue for the county to take the land if they exchange 90% equivalent value. And at least that's how the Treasury Association views it, and that's how it's discussed. However, if you read that RCW, and it's going to be up to the board and legal to interpret it, you could declare it for public use. And the matter of then, if you declare it's public use, do you still have to give it a 90% equivalent trade or not? It's going to be up to the board and legal to decide. That RCW, I could even state that for you here. That was our 363510. And so based on how you read that, it's not necessarily pay back the back taxes, but it's make the districts whole, and it talks a little bit about.
Well, that's what I mean. The back taxes would go to the districts
Yeah.
that needed them, and then we would own the property outright.
If it's for public use, and that's the part that the RCW does state. And now what's public use? Again, there really isn't much language for it, and so that's the part that's for interpretation for you guys. And I also want to point out that, like, on one of them, like, if it's going to 1938, I don't know how you would calculate 90 years worth of property taxes. No, I'm just generally speaking, and that's the issues with some of these is they.
So that I understand what you're describing, that it goes back to the taxing districts. So currently, if you have a 10-acre parcel that's worth $10 an acre, it's worth $100, and it goes to public auction, and, you know, it brings 1,000. It's distributed by taxing district based on their percentage of share of the taxes collected on the property.
The
Correct.
current levy, yes, in that district.
Got it.
And Franklin County's current percent would be?
Depends on where the property's at, because the levy's different everywhere. It depends if.
So as a general rule, I believe, of the taxes levied in Franklin County, property taxes, Franklin County receives just under 10% of that number, I believe,
Yes.
roughly,
It's
as a general rule.
Yeah.
So if we were to sell a property that's worth $1,000, Franklin County's proportionate share on average would be roughly $10 or 10%.
Off 1,000 would be 100.
$100.
100, yeah, but 10%. I meant to say 10%, yeah.
Okay.
So,
I think you're at the outcome part.
yeah. So the outcome of that sale, the board approved to sell 30 of those 31 parcels, returning them to the tax roll, and this was basically helped reduce the liability, cleanup costs, administrative burden, and restoring the tax back to the community. So on this next one here, we have a slide here, and it's three different things: non-practical to build, land value, and regular sale. So we sold 15 parcels by regular sale, by regular auction, and between the other ones, they were negotiated by private sale for non-buildable, or the land value was under $500. So out of that 25, out of the 30 parcels, we sold 25 of them. And so the green ones are the ones that are still in the tax title, and two of them are double dipped here because of the non-buildable or the 500 land value. And so on the next page here, we have these 5 parcels, and you can kind of see where they're at, and like how big they are, and they don't really have much value. I mean, they were in the sale and auction in 2023, but they never sold.
For all 5, we reached out to owners around for $200 is what it was trying to be sold at the time, and they had no interest, even the adjacent owners. So those are the 5 remaining from that auction. And then I'm just going to go into the next one.
So the only current parcel, that next one? Oh, yeah, okay. So the current parcels that we have in is, it's probably the reason that we're here. I'm assuming it's the parcel that brought us to this point. It has not been put up for sale. There's been many people that have asked for it. It's on the Columbia River Road. It's a property in Franklin County and located in Pasco. It's approximately 26 acres. We acquired it in 1938 via deed. There's been lots of back and forth of this information about this property between several different county employees, and this information is not our information, so basically it's hearsay. Our role here is a tax title, and at the direction of the board, we can put it up for auction. When sold, proceeds will be distributed by the taxing districts based on the current levy in that district. Okay.
So it says from 1938, but I know that I just have to imagine that there were just, some of the junior taxing districts didn't exist, number one. Number two, I don't know that they did everything through the levy process in 1938 for schools. So how far back, like, for example, on this one here, if the county wanted to pay the beneficiaries of the trust back the taxes that have been owed, how would you even calculate that?
Well, I would assume that's all based on current
So,
levy.
and that's where the RCW, if you read them, it does not specify that. And so if you go as an option for the county to take it, really the only way the county can take it is if you're going to use it for public purpose and the kind of that. Right. And so in that case, I think the county would just have to determine what they think the fair tax amount is. The way these RCWs are written for tax title to begin with, and I apologize, I might take a step back here. Generally speaking, you will almost never have a piece of land like this. I mean, this is such an exception. So the RCWs are written to really give the county and the board control and take it away from the courts. I mean, it says that much in RCW. And so it's meant to make it as easy as possible to kind of just say, hey, we're going to do this or that with the land. It's worthless little pieces of land. And then you come across one like this, and it doesn't specify how do you calculate 7 years worth of taxes for districts that didn't even exist back then. And so that's where we say that we're going to have to refer to legal, and they're going to have to help us determine how we value that.
My question would be, on the right side of that screen is a circle, and that is our property,
That is our property.
tax title property, and it's been farmed.
It's not a whole circle, it's just a
No,
piece of
it's a
it,
partial
yes.
of a circle, but that circle cannot go around. Why are we not charging rent for the acreage that was being farmed? Who's the author? Go ahead, Mr. Danzel.
I believe this goes back to a county engineer from a very, very long time ago that, I can't think of the man's name, but there was a sort of a wink-wink agreement that should have never happened.
Was it in writing?
Yes.
It is right here.
It is.
It is. His name was
Dan,
Daniel Hesse.
yeah, he comes from my home neck.
That explains everything. No. What's the agreement say?
Permission to utilize for farming purposes, a small piece of the county-owned property located in the section.
For no rent?
Yeah, I don't know if we were even
Yeah.
allowed to grant that permission, but
I wouldn't think so.
That's, yeah, that's outside of our scope, yeah.
So where do we go from here? How do we make this right? I mean, there's going to have to be some, from this time forward, we're going to have to assess a rental rate on that, won't we?
Well, it's not your land to rent, that's the issue again.
It's a tax title property, but we're using it for a laydown yard. Aren't
Which
we the
you
one?
shouldn't.
Which you shouldn't be using.
Shouldn't be
for-
using it for that either, but who should be, who has the authority to rent that?
So really, it comes down to the board making the decision to do one of the three and not just let it hang out like it's been hanging out for this time.
Too long.
Either have to sell it, either make it your property for public use, or make it your asset by exchanging another asset where it's not necessarily for public use, but it's something that you want to have under your current county assets, and so you exchanged for it.
So if
And-
we declare it for public use, we could continue to use it as we were using it in the past. It's fairly clean now. We could use it as we were using it, so declare it for public use. And at any time, a month or 10 years from now, it could be sold, and that's still for the public use because the beneficial funds would be public use. So that's not a question really. I'm thinking out loud. So I think we need to ask legal counsel to evaluate that, and it would be my opinion that we need to get it out of its current limbo state.
Yep.
Yes.
And
Please. You have no idea how much people reach out about this property. It's like a broken record. It really is.
so it appears to me, based on that RCW, that we declare it for public use, and that takes it out of the limbo state. We could then rent the ground that's currently being used. So does that agreement that you have, does it say in perpetuity?
No.
So we just give them notice that it's no longer, it's changed its status.
Yeah, and it was written on March 13, 1980. So
45 years ago.
And one of the things we can do is exchange it for other land. We
Yeah.
could do a trade.
but it has to be 90% of the value. So if you're just taking it just to own the land because you want to own the land for maybe future sale or something like that, it has to be 90% of the value. And I asked the assessor's office for the current value.
90% of the value of this land.
Yes,
Right,
correct.
right.
And the current value was just under 1.25 million.
So based on properties that's very near this, it's closer to 1.8-ish.
Yeah, that's the value I got from the assessor's office based on
Yeah,
yesterday's email. I mean, I'm not an assessor, so I can't.
yeah. But there is portions of it that are not as valuable as other portions.
Yeah.
And you can see where there's a road down on the bottom by, yes, there. And that was given access from Public Works to
Core?
the spillway.
Oh, to the owners of this property here.
Yes.
So do we still have, does this parcel still have legal access through here? Because this property was somehow sold or acquired to the adjacent
Yes.
landowner, Green Energy Today LLC.
Yeah, we don't know if it has legal access. There's a road that goes through the sole property. We don't know about the access. And that's where it kind of goes back to the whole whereas as is. I mean, once we start digging and looking into easements and right-of-ways and usage, we really go outside of our scope of what we're supposed to do with these properties. And I believe it puts us in the liability because now there's information there we're finding out that could be accurate, could not, but now we're in the know. And so really our take on this is, hey, it didn't sell it at foreclosure. We need to do one of the three. But yes, that piece of land also, I don't know how they acquired title, but
So let me just say, so this property is larger, bigger than any of the other property that we've had. So we're trying to treat everything the same. So there's no, so we don't go through all these little slivers of ground and do a soil
Evaluations.
valuation. We don't see what's going on. We do a title for it.
As is where is.
Yes.
Will you go back to your list of all the properties that you have?
Before you leave this property, though, if I'm understanding you right, 1.25 million has been assessed by our assessor for the value of this land.
here, let me read this exactly into the,
And
I don't
we've-
want to misspeak.
And we've got to use if we trade it for another piece of ground, we got to be at 90% of its value. So
Mm-hmm.
at that, it would be $913,500 that we would have to be the other property's worth to be able to trade it.
If you're trading it, yes. Like, if you're math, 90% sounds about right, yeah.
Okay,
And yeah, the email states, so I asked, I told them we were doing this presentation, I issued the parcel, and I said, what would be the assessed value? And so the value of this parcel is $1,249,255.
okay. All right, thank you.
Do we know how that the land adjacent to it, where the green energy, how that was separated? Because I believe it was it was originally a part of the same.
Yes.
Yes, I believe so too.
Sold in
From-
2006.
There's a deed out there. I don't know if it was sold or if it was
Deeded.
deeded. There was a deed out there when I was kind of looking at it. I didn't bring the deed with me. Maybe I have it in my book here. Let me see. But there was a deed out there that gives them that. I'm not sure who signed that deed or what
The
jurisdiction they
previous
had.
treasurer signed it. And so then it was sold, I'm not really sure the date, I thought it was like in 2006, but then the easements was granted, I think like in 2011 or 2012 for down below,
So
the road easement.
I'm just wondering with if it was separated off, how did that happen? Did the Board of County Commissioners declare it public property, or was it privately negotiated, or how did it? Because my understanding is that it was a part of the original same parcel.
Yes, it was.
And so that may give us guidance on how to address this based on what was done in the past.
So this is the deed here, and the deed is March 22nd, 2006, and it is a treasurer's deed. It's a resale of tax title property, and it says that whereas pursuant of the order of the Board of County Commissioners of Franklin County, duly made and entered after having given due notice. So it states that it was in the direction of the Board of County Commissioners, and then it's signed by Tiffany Coughlin, the treasurer at the time. So it seems like there had to be some correspondence with that board. However, I don't have record of the actual board correspondence. We just found the actual deed. And
Yeah. And do we know, was it at public auction, or it was a private negotiation, or we don't have any idea on that?
have no information on that when I looked.
That'd be good, something good to see how they approached it in the past, because the same piece of ground has already gone through this process to some level.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if it was done correctly or not is really the question that could have been. I don't know as far as like the statute for keeping records for even auctions, if it exceeds 7 years. But 2006 would be prior to, 7 years expired before we even took any of that.
Yeah.
We tried, we even did a title report on some of this, and we went and paid, was it Chicago? Yes. Title to go to find as much as they can, and they really churned up with just the 2 deeds we already had and said, this is all we got for you guys, and it costed us a couple $100 for that.
Are you inquiring about the top left-hand
Here, let me go
corner?
there. It's the,
This one right here. So this
Okay,
formerly was part of this, and so through an action the board took, it was separated and sold off. And so I'm just thinking that there may be some, based on the way they did it before, there may be some guidance on how we could do it properly today, but I don't know.
and it was 18,300 is what they sold for, and that's stated on here as well.
and wasn't it for the generation of power, that power plant? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Green Energy Today. whatever
Yes.
they do.
power generation component there.
All right, and that is, we've only got, how many pieces of property left then that, in tax title?
So this would be 6.
This would be the 6th one.
Yeah.
So-
So going back,
Go back to your map, go back again.
One or this one.
No, the one, next one, up in the left corner there, who owns the other parcels? They're not interested in that little
We've
triangle piece?
reached out to all the adjacent owners.
Where exactly is that located? It looks like by a freeway?
The top left.
I believe Franklin County Emergency Management is about right here based on that picture. So I believe that Oregon Avenue is over here and A Street's over here approximately.
Well, this is downtown then.
Yeah, I have more of that information in the office for the purpose of this presentation. I didn't include the parcel legals and the actual location. I could pull up the map, I guess, if you'd like me to. It is a new map too. I don't know if commissioners are aware. We used to use Tax Sifter or Map Sifter, and now it's a little different, which it's supposed to be better, but it's like learning how to walk again. I've only used the other one, so give me a second here, but.
And while he's looking on that piece of property for a trade, if we traded it, how does that work? The tax title, the other tax entities have to just go along with us on that if we trade it for Franklin County use?
I think you have that choice, yeah.
Interesting.
It appears the cleanest route would be to declare it for public use, come into full possession of it, and then do with it as the county sees fit.
I really more than anything wanted the board to fully understand what all your options were. I think that they did a great job of telling us that, and Treasurer's Office does a good job in general on this stuff, just in general. So thank you all. Appreciate you.
Did you want to see that
I
map
think
or it's
my
not?
thing came off, but it is right on Oregon, like you were saying, and here it's gonna come on.
A quick question on your auctions. You're still using the online auction format.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
Are you happy with that, or?
yes, we're very happy with it.
It's the
It's-
most confusing thing I've ever got onto. They even offer a class how to teach you how to navigate their system, which most definitely need it. Because it's,
We can
as a
pull that back
consumer
up.
part of it, it's,
We've
Is-
never heard that before. Everybody's
Oh,
been very
wow.
okay with it.
I just feel that it would be better to offer it to a local auction company. Because I think you would get more response from people knowing that it's up and for sale.
That would be our decision, correct? Who would be the auctioneer?
No,
No?
No,
that's with the Treasurer's Office, but I want to point out, so we used,
Gubbies.
well, now we use Govies. It's pretty across the board what the counties use for their, because this essentially is a foreclosure issue. Now, if it becomes county assets, then absolutely would fall back to your guys' decision like we did with the Wilson House. However, I mean, we're not to speak on Joseph's behalf, I don't think we're here to tug of war of which auction we should use. I think we could decide possibly together. Two things is when you go with online auction, we used to do auctions in person, you would have 5 to 8 bidders come out. Online auctions, you have 80 to 90 bidders come out. The churnout is much, much greater. If your purpose is to generate higher revenue, like the RCW states, that reason alone is worthwhile. But also the fees. I mean, when you look at these parcels, like I mentioned earlier, out of those 31 that we had, 30 of them, you're not generating any revenue. You're losing money. You can't even sell them for $200. And these online, whether it's public surplus, but for asset govies, the ones that we use, those, they take them all. And quite frankly, they don't make much money off of them. And then on top of that, it's 2.5% off the total bid. Most of the local auctions that you will go with here, that fee is going to be much, much, much more. And not to speak on their behalf, I didn't go out to ask them if they want to sell a $50 piece of land, but most of them won't take it on because off of $50, you're not going to get much fees to begin with. And so, from our perspective or the county perspective, is we try to be as fair about it all across the board. It's not if a property is worth more money, then we're going to give it to a local auction, and then the property that nobody wants to sell, we're going to give it to a different auction. We're going to pick a vendor, and we're going to use that vendor that year, regardless of what comes up, to keep it fair.
Okay.
Well, thanks for the explanation. I mean, I still get stuff from auctions all over the United States from
Sure.
signing up to see how this one worked. It's still
Right.
confusing.
Yeah, it is. Well, and like he was saying, it's 2.5%, and then the other ones are 10%, and then the gubbies, they add $150 onto each parcel. So there's really not much that they're making on it. They're just doing it in volume.
I will definitely, as a prolific auction attendee, I will definitely agree that online is much less expensive than in person. The last time I sold something at a physical auction, I paid 35% as the seller, 35% of the value of the asset that I sold. And so Yeah, 2.5% to 6% is kind of a normal online expense, and
Yeah.
then they don't have just not all of the different costs that happens in a local.
And talking with an auctioneer, it seems like people have more courage when their identity is hidden as to
That's
how
true.
high they bid. Because I don't know what it is, but it seems like the online auctions bring more income.
Right, it is, yeah. Well, out of the 30, we sold 25.
How many do you think we have today? That
6.
we have 6.
Yeah.
And so of those 6, is there just the one that has real value?
Yes.
Just one that has real value?
The other ones we had were under 500 or non-biddable.
The little tiny pieces up there, the one that you described
tiny
where it
chip.
was at, yeah.
Yeah. Do you try, like since 2023, have you tried to talk to the neighbors?
Yeah.
Not since
Not since
2023. I think and I wouldn't know more, I think we sent the letters back at the time, and then after we negotiated, we had a year that we could renegotiate with them, so we might have sent one more follow-up letter, but I think most of them, we didn't hear anything back.
Yeah, other than that farmer was concerned about because of his circle and stuff, so that was only the.
So there's 2 people involved in this. There's the one that was sent that could farm it, and then now there's, they've actually sold it to somebody else, and so there's a farmer up there that's actually still farming it. So there's 2 people that have some grief about these letters that have come out.
So there's that little piece that we were talking about that,
Yeah, so if you look, this is Oregon coming down south
Yep.
and then Ainsworth. And so there's a tiny little, it's just tiny piece of land by the railroad where this whole piece, I don't know if it's being utilized for anything, and then it's a tiny little piece there.
prime shrub step habitat.
And you look back at some of these parcels, the way they used to divide them and subdivide them, I wish I had an explanation. I mean, you will have little pieces of like nothing, just a line going through like somebody's property, and you're like, why was that ever created as an individual parcel? But again, a lot of this was done 70, 80 years ago. I'm sure there was a math for that, a reason for that, but I don't know what it is today.
Are there more
We've
out there that
actually-
you're not aware of?
We've actually brought Robin from the assessor's office in and had her explain how these happen, and she has all the maps and everything like that, and she's been really helpful with it, but trying to understand why they did it.
I've done in my private business quite a number of times done parcel consolidations. That's a very simple and quick process.
Yeah.
And much, much, much easier than doing a parcel segregation.
And that's something we ask individuals on the ones that we could privately negotiate where they get it for $200. I mean, the county probably spends more money to do research and all that. But the point is to get them off the rolls. We'll ask them to, if they purchase it for the $200 private negotiation, that's one of our requirements. Is
Consolidate.
they have to consolidate at the end of the year when taxes are current. So just to not go back into this the following year or 3 years later when taxes are delinquent.
Yeah.
I have a historical question real quick for you. And Joe, we may have talked
Is where
about
that
this before, but I
picture is.
can't remember. Do we, or does any county in the state of Washington still, and it's a historical term, and I know it's still doable, most people have moved everything online.
is where we would
Do we
go for
still
that.
hold any auctions from the courthouse steps?
No, and those weren't really from us. Those were like escrow banks. We've
Yeah.
always just done
No,
that.
I know, I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
They do.
They do. They still do them.
And do we do them actually like in the physical location
Right
on the
here at our
courthouse steps?
steps. You've never seen them?
I had, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
they'll come
They
out.
still do.
very good.
Yeah, it's weird. It's interesting. It'll be like 30 degrees outside and rainy and windy,
It's
and
usually
they're out
winter,
there conducting
yeah.
an auction. It's like there has to be a better way. Yeah.
Okay, very
I
good.
think they use. I think Pronto was one of the companies they used to use, and there's a couple other.
That's what it would be
Why does it stop at the end?
because however it was designed back when. There's lots of pieces like that.
Okay. I don't know why you would want it.
So if you look here, if you click on this, it's the same thing.
So they go back.
So the road here has actually never been.
Is there certain, usually, it used to be like the time of year, it always ended up usually being in the fall, winter.
Our county
Okay,
policy on
very good. Thank you.
he would have to dedicate that
And I
round.
want to thank the Treasurer Department. This has been very helpful, very
right here,
informative. Thank you so much for coming in and doing this.
Required.
I want to show you guys this one more parcel, just so we kind of all be on the
Okay.
same page.
For years, because even Randy goes, nobody owns
It's
it,
these ones right here that are our favorite.
So
they have to maintain it.
So there, as you can see, there's
It's the
two
same as this
homeowners,
right here.
and there's a parcel that's a standalone parcel
So
that
it's been that way for years.
essentially is going through somebody's garage
Was that
or living
for-
room.
Was that for a roadway
There's
at one time?
easement
It
past
doesn't look like it, does it? Yeah.
Earlier on, like way, way, way back in the day when townships, before they were actual cities or towns, or it was probably done as a potential street or a potential easement for the purpose of building infrastructure a million years ago. And then pre-Growth Management Act and, they decided, but after, way after this fact, and when growth went in a different direction, a lot of times you'll see these little messes that still persist. And I'm sure Wes has seen a million of them in planning. And so that's usually a hanger-on from a road that was intended to go in like 1901 or even earlier possibly.
And you've contacted both of those owners, and neither one of them are interested in owning that?
At the time we have, yes. Well, and it's not maybe that they're not interested. And a lot of these cases, you'll find that they just don't respond. Whether they think it's a scam or whether they think it's
Maybe a knock on the door would be the appropriate way to do it, huh? No?
So
possibly. I mean,
frankly, there's no motivation to. It's going to cost them
Exactly.
time and money to, and they have exclusive use of it today.
Exactly.
So there's no reason to put the effort in. I mean,
And we had one that backfired before, where an individual had it like that, and it went up to auction, and somebody from California or something bought it, and it was a piece of land. It literally went through their garage, and they said, "Hey, you got 30 days to vacate that area,
That's
or
the repercussions. of
or
not
pay."
buying.
And you feel bad for that owner because he had no idea at first, and it was a mess. I don't want to go into details of somebody's personal stuff, but that's
That's
the
what can
downside.
happen,
That
yes.
could happen. I mean, because somebody could declare they're interested, and if they declare that they're interested, they could go to auction. And if they go to auction, it's anybody's. I mean, anybody could bid.
I don't see it on the screen, but what does the checkered green on those mean?
I am not sure. This whole maps system is like brand new, and so it's supposed to do layers for permits and layers for different things of that sort for the assessor's office. I am not sure why some of them are checker green. It's probably my second time on this website since they went live. So,
Okay.
MapSifter was something we used for 10 years, so now you got to relearn. But yeah, Josie, I don't know. You want to conclude this? And
So basically, in conclusion, the board needs to determine whether to proceed with the sale of a tax sale property. If the board passes a resolution authorizing the sale, the treasurer's office will take the next steps, preparing notices, coordinating the sale, issuing the tax deed, and distributing the proceeds to the taxing districts. So you guys can decide with legal what you're going to do and then let us know.
All righty. Yes, absolutely, Mr.
I
Daniels.
would just like to thank the treasurer's office. This was a short time turnaround for them, and they all made themselves available, and I just want to say thank you for that.
And good job.
absolutely.
Very
Well,
informative.
it would be my opinion, based on the information that we have now, that we should declare it public property and take full possession of it as the county, the one parcel that we're describing. And then I would just, I recognize the challenges that exist, but send them a letter, the other ones, and see if there's a way to get them back on the tax rolls with the neighboring
And
parcel.
even for the other ones, the first 5, because it's been longer than a year, we'd still have to bring a resolution. So if that's the will of the board, I think we'd put something together again. And we'll have to confirm with the assessor's office that it's still under $500 value, and with planning and building on some of those if they're non-buildable. Because if it's higher than 500 and if they're buildable, then we still have to go to auction. But regardless, once we confirm those 5, if you guys are good with that, we'd bring a resolution, and then we'd move forward with either negotiating or selling those. And then the 6th one, you guys are going to decide and then let us know know, if I'm understanding that.
That would be my recommendation.
I'm in agreement. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
So we move down to public comment. Is there anybody for public comment on the items discussed today in the workshop? Seeing nobody come forward, anybody on the phone?
So,
Any other comments, commissioners?
yeah, under the other business, a couple of items. It's been brought before this board numerous times, certainly before I was a commissioner. I was made aware of it for the first time in the last couple of weeks, that we have some areas in the county where that speeding has been a concern. The one that was recently brought is on Wernette Road between Road 44 and 48. And so a couple of things. One is it's in the donut hole, and a few neighbors pretty frustrated with it. And so something that has happened, it's unique, that we, in an attempt to try to help slow speed, we put up the solar-powered speed, where it shows your speed on the sign.
Yeah.
And the neighbors have observed, they believe that has become a challenge for people to see how big a number they can get on the board. And so I'm not sure what all we need to do there, but they've brought this to the board for quite a few years.
They have. I remember this from
And so,
before either one of you were here.
Yeah, before I was here, it came up all the time.
Who patrols that? Is that Pasco Police or is that the sheriff?
so that
Donut
is, yeah, it's Donut Hole, the sheriff's department. And so wonder if maybe that we can ask our administrator to talk to the sheriff's department and see if we got some ideas on the way to do that, and then potentially remove that sign, to remove that temptation to see how big. So apparently there's a way that we can capture within that sign how high the number is. And so in a 25-mile-an-hour zone, they've apparently clocked them at 81.
Maybe we can invest in some blow-up cars that look like a sheriff car sitting there too, and it'll slow people down.
It's very intense. 81, I can't imagine they make it.
That'd be it. Yeah. It's a very narrow road. It's a real concern, and it's been brought for a long time. Blow-up
Told me
cars.
that they had the sign there that lit up the speed. I knew exactly where you were going.
So something, not sure where we take it from here, that part from here. And then,
But it is a danger to that community.
it is a danger to that community. Another topic, back in 2024, this board passed a resolution. I voted against it. You guys will remember it. It was closing off Columbia River Road, where you're on Columbia River Road and you turn up and you go up Sagemore. We closed that road. I would like to see us amend that resolution. The current resolution, it's 2024-134. It has that road closed from September 30th through April 1st. And it's closed right now. So there's a lot of good fishing that happens, and that belongs to the public, and I think the public has a right to access it. And so I would like to see us amend that. It's closed today. I've gotten quite a few complaints that it was closed throughout the summer, quite often. I personally went out there at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning in July, and it was closed and locked, and cars park out, and then they have to walk in to it.
But it was supposed to be opened at a time.
Per our resolution that this
yes.
board passed, it was supposed to be
And
open.
it hasn't been followed.
Yeah, and so I have gotten quite a few complaints. I got a complaint again. This is why I'm bringing it today. That yesterday or the day before, I got a complaint that, hey, why is this closed? Why can I not go down this public road? And so, anyways, for consideration, I think we should look into that. And
2024-134.
correct.
And I believe it was closed because of the drug use that was observed down that road, and
Yep.
Understandably, perhaps we amend it and see what happens.
So I can see the value to it. Right now there's a fish run that's going up the river, and there's a gravel parking lot down there, and so I think that we just should evaluate it and maybe amend it just a little bit. So
Okay.
Would you like that in the form of a workshop next week? Maybe not next week's our busy day, but the following week?
Yeah, potentially. I think we should ask the sheriff's department for their perspective on that. Not sure who else we would ask. Maybe Public Works. I don't think that they are involved with it any longer, as far as they helped put it in, but I don't think they're involved with it any longer. But yeah, maybe ask the sheriff's department for their perspective and yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, yes, Mr. Danzel.
Be very quick. I forgot to mention this in my updates. I'm going to be asking our department heads to prepare themselves to be able to come in and at least once a month or once every other month, give updates to the board as a whole. I think it'd be very beneficial. I think you'd get to
Absolutely.
understand more of what's going on in the day-to-day, but also there's an accountability both ways. We will know what's going on. We'll understand why maybe certain things are asked for in the budget and when and how and who and what and anyway. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that, you know, you already see quite a bit of, you know, public works and planning, for example, but even I'm sure that this is welcome news to the folks like Mr. McCart, who probably like the ability to be able to, in a workshop, explain what they've been going through, what their long-term issues are, what short-term issues there might be, and if there's anything that we could be doing that would help them to succeed more. So to me, it just makes a lot of sense that we have our department heads come and give updates.
I agree, and it would be beneficial that we all take, you know, a good look at where we're at financially. That's how we stay out of trouble. So I agree, this would be beneficial.
So along that note, I know I had asked you this question, and I think it's a topic that we should evaluate. The question has been asked of me, and I didn't have a good answer. So an example is the city of Pasco does a regular business meeting 1 week, and they do a workshop the following, then a regular, then a workshop, and then if there's a fifth meeting time, they don't have it in a month. So I think that happens twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. And so my question would be would there be efficiency in us meeting either in that format, or what my thought would be is do the first and third Wednesday of the month, and I think we could get some efficiency from doing it that way potentially. So I think that we should evaluate that.
Very good. Yeah, there's 2 things that could jump in the top of my head. The first one would be the bills. We'd have to make sure that we get the bills on a rotation that's paid. The second would be really board preference. I know that where I came from before here, we didn't meet on any 5th Mondays, because we had our meetings on Mondays. And so if we had a 5th Monday in a month, that one we would take off. So I can absolutely look into it for you. That's the thing that I would, the first thing that pops in my head is how to keep the bills paid. But anything's possible.
Yeah, and that's why that I think that we should evaluate it, because we want to think about the unintended consequences of it, but you know, to not assemble a lot of the leadership of the county every single week. If we were to, you know, cut that, it would potentially bring some efficiencies, and you know, if we were to have, you know, an extended time, you know, for workshops, and it would be, you know, knowing that we're going to have a 3-hour workshop. I don't know. I think we should evaluate that, and there could be some efficiencies there, I think.
All right. Is there any other business? Hearing none, we will adjourn the workshop.
Wow, you just barely got her in under noon.